Have you seen a honey before? Or you've probably eaten it and wondered how that golden, sticky honey gets from the beehive to become something that is eaten. The process might be simpler than you think, but it's full of interesting steps that ensure you get the best, pure honey every time. It all starts with bees collecting nectar, but what happens after that? How does the honey move from the hive to the jar on the store shelf? The process of honey production consists of several key steps: harvesting from the beehives, processing, and then packaging it for retail.
But there's a lot more to it than just squeezing honey out of the comb.
In this video, we'll take you behind the scenes to see how honey is extracted from the hive, filtered, and prepared for the consumer. You'll see how factories handle raw honey and transform it into the product you know and love, all while maintaining its natural flavor and nutrients. From the moment the honey is collected to the high-speed assembly lines where it's bottled, there's a lot of work involved in making sure it's ready for you to enjoy. If you want to know more about how everyday products you use or eat are made, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification button for more behind-the-scenes insights into the production process of these foods and products. Now, follow us as we take you into the main manufacturing process, from raw materials to the finished product. Let's start with how honey gets from the beehive to your kitchen. It all starts with the bees themselves. These tiny workers play a huge role in creating the sweet golden honey that we all enjoy. Bees collect nectar from flowers, and this nectar is the key ingredient in honey. The quality of the honey is greatly influenced by the types of flowers the bees visit, which is why honey can taste different depending on the region or season. For example, honey made from clover has a much lighter taste compared to honey made from wildflowers or orange blossoms. Each type of nectar adds its unique flavor to the final product. These bees gather the nectar from the flower and store it in the honey stomach. Once they return to the hive, they pass the nectar to other worker bees, who chew it for about half an hour to break down the sugars. After this, the nectar is deposited into the honeycomb cells, where it is left to evaporate, thickening and turning into honey. This evaporation is critical. It's what turns the liquid nectar into the rich golden syrup we know. Beekeepers then step in, carefully removing the honey-filled frames from the hive. They scrape away the wax caps that seal the honeycomb, releasing the liquid honey inside. This honey is then placed in a honey extractor, a machine that uses centrifugal force to spin the honey out of the comb without damaging it. The raw honey from the hive is thick and sticky, but before it can be bottled, it undergoes a gentle heating process to help it flow more easily. Honey comes in all kinds of colors, from pale golden to dark amber, and each color has its flavor profile. Lighter honeys tend to have a mild, delicate flavor, while darker honeys are often richer and more robust. The texture of honey also varies. Some types are runny, while others can be thick and creamy. All these differences are the result of the flowers the bees visit, and they're what make honey such a unique product. But what happens if honey doesn't meet the standards during this process? If the honey is contaminated, or if it doesn't pass purity tests, it may be discarded or used for other purposes. For example, some honey that doesn't pass the quality control tests might be used in cooking, or even for cosmetic products, where the high sugar content and antibacterial properties come in handy. From the bees collecting nectar to the final packaging process, it's all about maintaining the quality and purity of the honey. And that's what makes honey such a special and beloved product around the world. Once the raw honey has been carefully extracted from the hives, it's time for the processing and manufacturing stage. While honey might seem like a simple product, there's a lot of work that goes into making sure it reaches the store shelf in perfect condition. The process involves more than just packaging. It's about ensuring that the honey stays pure, safe to consume, and retains its natural qualities. The first step in the manufacturing process is usually the filtration and heating. The raw honey that comes out of the hive is thick and can contain small particles like wax or pollen. These need to be removed to make sure the honey is smooth and clear. The honey is filtered through fine mesh screens, which catch these unwanted bits, leaving behind only the pure golden liquid. But honey is delicate, and it's important not to overdo the filtering or heating process. The honey is gently heated to help it flow more easily, but care is taken to ensure that the heat doesn't destroy the enzymes and antioxidants that make honey so healthy and special. Once filtered, the honey flows into holding tanks, large containers that keep it safe and allow it to be measured for packaging. At this point, it might be blended, especially if different types of honey from various regions or flowers are being combined. This blending ensures that the flavor and consistency are just right. While some honey varieties are left raw and unprocessed, This step is common for creating more uniform products, especially when companies want to create a consistent flavor profile for customers. Once the honey is filtered, heated, and stored in its holding tanks, it moves on to the next important part of the process, the assembly line. This is where everything comes together, where the honey goes from being just liquid to a product that's ready to be enjoyed by customers. The assembly line might seem straightforward at first glance, but a lot is going on behind the scenes to ensure the honey is bottled and packaged perfectly every time. The first step on the assembly line is the filling station, where the honey is dispensed into jars. At this stage, the honey is pumped from the holding tanks through pipes into machines designed to carefully fill each jar with the exact amount needed. These machines use sensors to monitor the level of honey in each jar, ensuring it's consistent every time. Imagine dozens of jars moving along a conveyor belt, each being filled with liquid honey, ready to be sealed. The machine moves quickly, and the jars are filled with speed and accuracy. Can you imagine how many jars it takes just to meet the daily demand? Once the jars are filled, they move to the sealing station, where lids are securely placed on top to lock in the freshness. This part of the assembly line is crucial because it ensures that no honey escapes or gets contaminated. A robot might take care of placing the lid on each jar, moving at high speed to keep up with the flow of jars coming down the line. As the robot places the lid, it's sealed tightly, making sure the honey stays safe inside the jar until it reaches the store. The sealing is done with such care that you'll never have to worry about a jar being opened before it's supposed to be. After the jars are sealed, the next step is labeling. This might seem simple, but it's a very important part of the process. The label tells you everything you need to know about the honey, from its origin to whether it's raw or processed. The labeling machines move quickly, applying stickers or labels to each jar with impressive accuracy. These machines are set up to handle large volumes of jars in a short amount of time, but they also make sure that every label is straight and placed correctly. Now here is something you need to know. Robot-assisted assembly plays a huge role in this process. Robots are used to move the honey-filled jars from one station to another, ensuring that the flow of the assembly line stays smooth and uninterrupted. These robots are designed to be fast and precise, picking up one jar after another and placing it exactly where it needs to go, whether it's the labeling station or the final packaging area. While robots do a lot of the heavy lifting on the assembly line, human workers are still essential to ensuring everything runs smoothly. Skilled workers supervise the entire process, making sure that no jars are left behind, that all the equipment is working properly, and that the machines are filling, sealing, and labeling correctly. Workers also step in if something goes wrong, whether it's fixing a machine or ensuring that the right labels are used for the right type of honey. Can you imagine how many steps are involved in assembling just one jar of honey? From the initial filling to the sealing, labeling, and final packaging, it takes several complex machines and human oversight to get the product ready for sale. And it doesn't just happen in one go. This entire process is happening across multiple assembly lines simultaneously, with hundreds or even thousands of jars being packed every hour. Human skills play a vital role in this process, from workers ensuring that everything is working smoothly to handling any issues that arise along the way. Even with automation, there's always a need for attention and a watchful eye to make sure the final product meets the highest standards. The speed at which everything happens might surprise you. Jars are filled, sealed, labeled, and packed at high speed, yet each step is done with such care and precision that the quality of the honey never gets compromised. Once the honey has been filled into jars, sealed, labeled, and packaged, it's not quite ready to be sent out just yet. The next important step in the process is quality control. This stage ensures that every jar of honey that leaves the factory meets the high standards expected by customers. The quality assurance process involves multiple checks and inspections at different points in production to guarantee that nothing goes wrong. As the honey moves through the assembly line, it's inspected multiple times. After the honey is bottled and sealed, workers begin by checking the seal to ensure it's secure. This is important because any jar that isn't sealed properly could cause contamination or leakage. A machine might perform the first round of inspection, automatically checking the seal on each jar, but human workers are always on standby to catch anything that might have been missed. These workers visually inspect each jar, looking for signs of defects like cracks in the glass or improper seals. Once the initial visual checks are done, the honey is moved to the next stage: taste testing and consistency checks. You might be surprised to learn that honey is actually sampled from the production line at this stage to ensure the flavor is just right. A team of workers will randomly select jars of honey to check for taste, making sure the sweetness is balanced and the flavor matches the standards set by the company. Honey can vary in taste depending on the type of flowers the bees visit. but there are still specific qualities that it must meet. If the taste doesn't quite match, the batch is flagged for further inspection. But what happens if something doesn't meet quality standards? What if a jar of honey has an issue? Let's say there's a small amount of honey in the jar, but it's not to the exact weight it should be. Or what if the honey isn't flowing correctly and looks too thick or too thin? These issues might seem small, but in the world of food production, every detail counts. If a product doesn't meet the standards, it's immediately pulled from the line for inspection. A real-world example is if a jar of honey is slightly overfilled, it could be sent back to be resealed or adjusted. In some cases, if the honey is too thick or has an off taste, it may be blended with another batch to adjust the consistency and flavor. In some instances, jars with defects or jars that don't pass the taste test might be sent to a rework station, where the honey can be processed again, either by being mixed or even heated slightly to get it to the right viscosity. This ensures that no defective product is sent out to customers while also minimizing waste. Another example could involve the labeling process. If a label is misaligned or has incorrect information, it will be flagged and removed from the production line. The team will fix the labeling issue before sending it off to the packaging. The entire production team works closely together to solve any issues that arise quickly and efficiently without interrupting the flow of production. What happens if there's a major issue? Perhaps an entire batch doesn't pass inspection for one reason or another. In those cases, the factory has to act fast to either reprocess the honey or discard it if it can't be corrected. If honey doesn't meet purity standards due to contamination, it might be sent for reprocessing, where it's purified, filtered, or even heated again to bring it up to quality standards. While reprocessing is an option, the factory is careful to minimize this, as it could affect the taste and natural qualities of the honey. This part of the process also includes checking for pesticides or other harmful substances that could affect the honey's quality or safety. Honey is thoroughly tested to make sure it's safe for consumption. The honey is tested in a laboratory setting for any harmful chemicals or bacteria that could be present. This ensures that every jar of honey leaving the factory is pure and safe for the consumer. It's not just the honey that gets checked. Packaging also undergoes a series of tests. Is the packaging secure? Does it meet the required weight and measurements? These factors can affect the overall quality of the product and its shelf life. Packaging is inspected for any damage during transport or bottling, ensuring the product reaches stores without any cracks or issues. Even after packaging, the honey is checked one more time before leaving the factory. In the end, quality control is about more than just checking for defects. It's about ensuring that the final product is the best it can be every single time. From taste checks to visual inspections, every part of the process is to guarantee that the honey is fresh, pure, and safe for consumers. Once the honey has passed all the quality checks and is ready for the world, it's time for the packaging and distribution process. Packaging is more than just putting the honey in a jar. It's about ensuring that the product stays fresh, protected, and ready to be enjoyed by customers. But how exactly does the honey get packaged for retail and transportation? And what materials are used to package it in a way that keeps it in the best possible condition? Let's break it down. The jars are moved along a conveyor belt to the packaging station, where they are carefully placed into larger boxes or containers for shipping. This is done with a combination of human effort and automated machinery. While robots and machines handle much of the heavy lifting, human workers are there to ensure the jars are placed securely and efficiently. The honey jars are packed in a way that prevents them from moving around during transport, which could cause breakage or leakage. The type of material used for packaging is important for several reasons. It has to keep the honey fresh, prevent contamination, and be sturdy enough to withstand the rigors of transportation. Glass jars are often the preferred choice for packaging honey because they're durable, non-reactive, and don't interfere with the taste of the honey. Glass is also recyclable, which makes it a better option from an environmental perspective. By using glass, the company is not only protecting the honey but also helping reduce waste, as glass can be recycled and reused. Once the jars are packed into boxes, they are moved to the next stage, sealing and labeling. This part of the process ensures that each box has the correct information on it, from the product name to the barcode and everything in between. Machines quickly apply labels to each box, which include important details about the honey, like where it was sourced, its type, and any certifications it may have, such as being organic or raw. Labels are applied with accuracy and speed to ensure no mistakes are made. The honey is then loaded onto pallets, large flat platforms that hold several boxes at once. These pallets are wrapped in plastic film to secure the boxes and protect them during transport. This is where the packaging comes into play. The film keeps everything tightly together, ensuring the honey doesn't get jostled around or damaged while it's being shipped out. The pallets are then ready for the next phase, distribution. Now comes the real work of getting the honey from the factory to retailers and ultimately into the hands of customers. After the honey is packaged, sealed, and labeled, it's moved to the shipping area where it's loaded onto trucks, ready to be transported to various destinations. The trucks are often equipped with temperature controls to ensure that the honey stays in the best possible condition during its journey. While honey can usually withstand being stored at room temperature, some factories take extra precautions to ensure the product remains in top shape. Once the honey arrives at distribution centers, it's sorted and then shipped out to grocery stores, health food shops, and other retailers. The packaging process has ensured that the honey is ready to sit on shelves without any risk of contamination or damage. But there's another aspect to packaging that many of us don't think about: sustainability. The materials used in packaging have a huge impact on the environment. So what exactly is being done to reduce the environmental footprint of honey packaging? A growing number of honey producers are making strides in sustainable packaging practices. For example, many companies are moving away from using plastic containers in favor of more environmentally friendly options, like glass jars or recyclable cardboard. The move toward recyclable packaging means less waste ends up in landfills, helping to reduce the overall environmental impact. This is important not just for the health of the planet, but also because consumers are increasingly conscious of where their products come from and how they're packaged. But wait, have you ever noticed how many companies are switching to more sustainable packaging? Whether it's a brand of honey or another product, what do you think about these changes? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We're curious to hear if you've seen any packaging innovations or sustainability efforts in other products. As the packaging process wraps up, it's important to remember that every step, from choosing the right materials to ensuring everything is sealed and labeled correctly, plays a role in delivering the best product to the consumer. The packaging doesn't just protect the honey, it's also about making sure it's ready for safe transport and easy use by customers. From the moment the bees collect nectar to when the honey is sealed in jars and sent to stores, a lot happens behind the scenes to make sure it's the perfect product. First, the nectar is gathered, and the bees do their part. Then, beekeepers harvest and extract the honey, which is filtered and gently heated to remove any impurities while keeping its natural goodness. The honey is bottled, sealed and labeled, ready for sale, with each step in the process carefully monitored to maintain quality. The packaging plays an important role too. It protects the honey, keeping it fresh and safe for transport. With more focus on sustainability, the packaging is designed to be recyclable, helping to reduce waste and lessen the environmental impact. So, next time you reach for a jar of honey, remember the process behind it. From the beehives to the packaging line, it's a series of steps that ensure you get the best, most natural product every time. We would love to know what product you would want us to do next. Let us know in the comments. Also, if you love this kind of video, make sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss out on any of our videos on how everyday products we use or eat are made. Stay tuned for the next video.